Rotation in the Pokemon trading card game is quite interesting, because it's basically a free-for-all. There's a lot of decks, and no one really knows what to play. So today, I'm going to be telling you exactly what you should play. I'm going to be showing you a bunch of decks that I think are quite good, and a bunch of decks that I think are quite fun. Whether you're an experienced player, or someone who's just getting into the TCG, post-rotation is a very fun time. It gives a freshness to the game that, honestly, Pokemon really needs right now. We've been in the same format for what feels like decades. Gardevoir, Dragapult, Gholdengo. Well, to be fair, Gholdengo and Gardevoir leave. Dragapult, however, let's take a look at our first deck. So first up, we've got Dragapult EX. This is a, you could say, straight Dragapult EX version of the deck, as in it's not running any partners. The main partner of this deck is the Badoo and the Munkidori, which aren't exactly partners. They're also just good cards in the deck. A partner would be considered something more like Dragapult Dusknoir or Dragapult Blaziken, right? Those are parts of the deck that you can kind of take in and take out depending on the meta. And honestly, the meta is looking really good for this deck. This is arguably the best deck in the game, just because of how well positioned it is in the meta. Like, this deck is just, it has answers to everything. It's Dragapult, which is a great attacker. It has double Munkidori, meaning it has a great answer to other Munkidori decks such as Grimsnarl and Starmie, both of which are essentially just worse Dragapults if you're playing your own Munkidoris. And you also play Psyduck for the mirror match if they're playing Dusknoir. If you're playing something like the Diancie Dusknoir deck, Psyduck helps a lot as well. Shaman is really good for the Starmie deck, also against Zoroark, and also against Terrabox. So Shaman itself is just a really, really good card as well. Then we've got Lily's Clefairy. Lily's Clefairy, you might think it's really good for Dragapult, which you wouldn't be wrong. It is definitely a good attacker against Dragapult. However, it does kind of just dive Dragapult, so a lot of times you don't really need Lily's Clefairy in that matchup. You'd rather set up double Munkidori. But what it is great against is one of Dragapult's, I guess, worse matchups being Lucario, because it just one-shots Lucario, and that's great. Lucario is a 3-prizer, meaning even if they do instantly return KO on these Clefairy, you've traded 3 prize cards for 2 prize cards, which I'm no financial expert, but that seems like a good deal. And, well, Dragapult itself is pretty good. We're playing Risky Ruins as like a pseudo damage buff, because as soon as you bench a Munkidori and attach to it, well, you essentially just got plus 20 damage, right? So it is pretty cool. You still have that kind of play that you can go for with the board wipe, because we have Boss's Orders plus the Risky Ruins plus the Munkidori. For example, if our opponent has 2 70 HP or even 80 HP Pokemon on the bench, or like, let's say, 2 Riolus, we can boss up one, put down the Risky Ruins, put down our Munkidori, attach the Munkidori, do 20 damage to the benched one, and then we can knock them both out at the same time. And with Iono leaving the format, it's a good chance you're going to hit that combo, because you have a lot of raw draw power with the Dracloak. And speaking of draw power, we are obviously playing Forley's Determination, and the substitute for the Iono is Unfair Stamp. On top of that, we are playing Dawns and Brock Scoutings. Honestly, personally, I would cut Dawn and just play 3 Brock Scouting. Brock Scouting is such a good card. It is much better than Dawn. I just don't like Dawn. Every time I play Dragapult, I don't put Dawn in it. I just don't like Dawn. I think it's a bad card. They've got 3 Crispins. You could probably put this down to 2 Crispins, but since you are playing Munkidoris, a much heavier line of Munkidoris, Crispin is pretty good because you want to be setting those up in quite a few matchups. Anyway, if Dragapult is not your cup of tea, maybe Zoroark is. So this is our next deck that we're taking a look at. None of these lists are the lists that I have built per se. These are all lists from City Leagues and stuff. So that's why I'm giving you kind of suggestions what I would change to the list. However, this list looks really good. Something that I would consider would be the Genie's Secret Arts for an energy switch. I just kind of find the energy switch a lot better. And also, 2 Ends Castle is fine, but Watchtower is really good in the upcoming format, because Meowth is just such a menace. Meowth being able to be searched off of anything like an Ultra Ball can go ahead and grab boss, meaning you're going to be seeing a lot of games being won with Ultra Ball for Meowth for boss. Think Luminion, right? It's just that kind of card. This deck functions basically the same as it did pre-rotation. You've got all of your attackers still in the deck. I feel like you only need 1 Zekrom rather than 2. I don't think you ever need 2. And then it's just a good deck. I don't think I have to explain too much about Zoroark, because literally nothing changes. The only thing you're losing is counter catches and Ionos. I guess you're losing reversal energy, so you can't really attack with the Dom, but well, it's not that bad. I wasn't even playing reversal energy in my pre-rotation Dom build. So, well, here is the Zoroark list that I think looks pretty decent post-rotation. And yeah, Moving on, we've got Lucario. This is arguably, well, it is the second best deck in the game right now behind Dragapult, because it's pretty simple. This is your new Goldengo. This is a fairly simple beat stick that is consistent and pretty good. It's got your built-in draw engine with the Lunatone Zoroark. It's got good one-prize attackers being the Hairy Mama and the Zoroark itself as early pressure. It's got energy acceleration with Aura Jab. It's got damage amplification. It's got the Goblin Curse, if anyone knows that reference, Goblin Curse in the Premium Power Pro. And it's consistent, right? It's pretty good. If you take a look at this deck, there's not a lot of moving parts to it. You've got Pokemon which deal damage and Gust. You've got things that heal, one of the only things that can heal in format, which is pretty nice. You've got Judges, some Disruption. You've got Double Boss because you're playing 2 Hariyama, you're essentially playing 4 Gust. Then you are playing a just consistent line of things to find your Pokemon and energy, such as Fighting Gong. And then Pokemon-wise, we've got Ultra Balls and Pokepads. Then we've got Recovery with the Night Stretchers. We've got Switches because during your next turn you can't use Mega Drive with Mega Lucario, and also your Pokemon kind of have high retreat costs, so it is nice to be able to get into the Pokemon that you actually want and active with the Zoroark. And since Earthen Vessel has rotated, we are now playing 10 basic energies, so you will be drawing into them so you can Luna Cycle them away and be able to attach them with Aura Jab. But Lucario is a very simple deck. It's really not that difficult to explain, but I think this, out of all the decks I've seen, this list is probably the best list I have seen. Like, this is just straight to the point, it's consistent, and I really like this list. This is probably my favorite list. The only thing I would consider would maybe play a third Night Stretcher. Third Night Stretcher seems good. Other than that, everything in this list is good. Maybe one switch for a Night Stretcher seems fine, and then there we go, bam, perfect deck list. I really like this deck list, so moving on. Then we've got a deck that people are aware of. This deck we already know exists, and this is Grimsnarl. Grimsnarl changes quite a bit due to the fact that Arven and TM Evo and TM Devo are no longer in the formats. This is a bit more of an aggressive deck list. We're looking at, still 4 Monkey Dories and a 3-2. I definitely would go down to a 3-2-2. I don't think you ever need a third Grimsnarl. And then it's basically just prize racing. That's why we're playing more rare candies, because we actually can't TM Evo anymore, so we have to try and get into our Grimsnarls a lot faster, and this is quite easy with the help of the Spike Myth. Unfair Stamp is just probably the best ace spec in the game post-rotation, because it is the only really good disruption, but you can still run Secret Box, and then you can do something like, Rocket's Petrol for Secret Box for Stadium plus Rare Candy. That is still something you can do, but Grimsnarl is still a really good deck post-rotation. It takes some pretty good matchups into a lot of decks, such as Dragapult, Dusk Noir. This is definitely a pretty good matchup for Grimsnarl. Straight Dragapult, however, it definitely struggles against, because, like we've already discussed, this is essentially just a better Grimsnarl in the Grimsnarl matchup. Obviously, it doesn't have any, similar damage usage as the Grimsnarl, because the Snorrents and stuff, but in that matchup it's essentially just a better version of Grimsnarl because it does more damage. You have Shaman as well, which can protect your bench from the Shadow Bullet 30 damage, but that's not even that big of a deal. The only thing you do have to worry about is the Yveltal. Right, Yveltal is a really good card into the upcoming format because, well, we lose Turo, we lose Penny, right? We lose most of our switching options. The only real switching options, I think, are Surfer, Kieran, and Switch itself. So we still have Prime Catcher, right? But most decks aren't really running Prime Catcher. And on to the next. This is more of a fun pick. This is something that I was looking at, and I think this looks fun, to be honest. Out of everything in post-rotation, this looks the most fun. This is Steven's Metagross with a 3-2-2 lineup of Metagross. Then we've got Empoleon. Empoleon is a pretty cool attacker. For 320 HP, it's pretty chunky. Right, it has a decent attack. During your opponent's next turn, you take a bunch less damage. I don't actually remember how much exactly. But you also deal 210 damage, but its ability is the thing that impresses me the most. It says prevent all effects of attacks done to this Pokemon, meaning against something like Alakazam, which is actually a pretty good deck as well post-rotation, well, that doesn't affect it, right? It doesn't get affected by that. It can't be knocked out by something like Absol's Terminal Period or anything like that, and it also has a good consistent engine with Genesect. Genesect can also attack in this deck, obviously, because we've got Metagross, which is just Metal Gardevoir attaching to stuff, and you might be saying, well, Gardevoir had Screamtail, what does this deck have? Well, it has Skarmory. Skarmory for 3 energy, discard all of the energy, I'm pretty sure, or something, and it does 220 damage anywhere on the board, which is pretty good. Just snipes a Fez, snipes Latinas, snipes an opposing Genesect, snipes a Clefairy. Very nice. And then we've got the closer being the Mega Mawile for 2 energy, being able to do 80 damage for each prize card you have already taken. So if you've taken 4 prize cards, you're doing 300 and I think it's 320 damage. which is very nice because, well, you just one-shot a Dragapult, right? And that's something that is very important. Speaking of one-shotting Dragapults, though, we also have Lily's Clefairy, which can attack in this deck, obviously, because X-Boot grabs a Psychic and a Metal, because Metagross is a Psychic and Metal Pokemon. Then we've also got the Latinas, which can attack, and honestly is sometimes a better attacker than Lily's Clefairy into Dragapult, because it doesn't just die due to the 210 damage, and if they want to gust, 210 HP, and if they want to gust, they have to use Boss, because Counter Catcher is no longer an option in the format. Jumbo Ice Cream is really nice in this deck because you are flooding your board with energies, which is quite nice. Most of your attackers require 3 energy anyway, so you'll just be able to heal those off as well. It's a pretty cool deck, it's very fun, and honestly one of the decks that I think might actually have a chance against Dragapult. But yep, that's a bit from me today. If you guys have any deck suggestions for anyone else, leave them down in the comments. And if you guys enjoyed this video, smash like, smash subscribe, it really helps out the channel, and it's free. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.